Africa is changing, the April 25th offensive was not only significant because of its scale, it marked a major strategic evolution in the Sahel conflict. International reporting indicates the attackers were not simply trying to stage a symbolic assault. The operation appeared designed to fracture command and control, expose military vulnerabilities around Bamako, and undermine the political legitimacy of the junta led by Assimi Goïta. At least 6 strategic areas were hit nearly simultaneously: Kati, Bamako, Gao, Kidal, Sévaré, and Mopti. This forced the Malian military to respond across enormous geographic distance. Analysts noted that striking both northern fronts and the political center created operational overload. This is exactly the kind of operational overload insurgent planners seek. Reuters described it as one of the most serious coordinated assaults Mali has faced in years. Why the JNIM FLA alliance shocked the region. The most striking feature of the assault was the temporary battlefield coordination. This was between Jama'at Nasr al-Islam wal-Muslimin, Al-Qaeda's main affiliate in the Sahel, and Front de Libération de l'Azawad, secular Tuareg separatists. These groups do not share the same long-term political project. JNIM's objective: Islamist governance and expansion of jihadist influence. FLA's objective: territorial autonomy or independence for Azawad in northern Mali. That matters because this was less an ideological merger than a tactical convergence. It was around a common target: weakening Bamako. Security analysts noted that this kind of temporary battlefield pragmatism has become increasingly common in the Sahel. Local power balances often override doctrine. Kidal. More than a battlefield loss, the loss of Kidal carries enormous symbolic and military weight. Kidal has long been the political heart of Tuareg nationalism. When the Malian state, with heavy Russian support, retook Kidal in 2023, Bamako presented it as proof that the era of fragmentation was ending. The April 25th offensive effectively shattered that narrative. Foreign analysts note that whoever controls Kidal controls northern logistics corridors and movement routes toward Algeria. It also controls political leverage over future negotiations on autonomy, sovereignty, and state authority. In short, Kidal is not just a city, it is strategic legitimacy. The death of Sadio Camara, why it hit so hard. The killing of Sadio Camara was probably the most politically consequential element of the assault. Camara was widely viewed as architect of Mali's post-French military doctrine, a key figure in the 2020 and 2021 power transitions. He was also the principal political bridge between Bamako and Moscow. His death was not only a military blow, it removed one of the junta's most influential security strategists at a moment of national crisis. Reuters reported that Mali later held a national funeral. This underscored the scale of the political shock. Malian military reaction, delayed but politically revealing, one of the most important signals came from the government's initial silence. For nearly 2 days, there was no immediate, full public narrative of control. That silence mattered. In military crises, governments typically move fast to establish control of the narrative, reassurance to the public, and deterrence toward adversaries. When Assimi Goïta finally addressed the country on April 28th, the message focused on national unity, resilience, and retaliation. But analysts noted that the delay itself reflected how deeply the assault disrupted the chain of command. Reuters later reported that Malian authorities opened investigations. These investigations were into possible internal military complicity, a sign that Bamako believes the attackers may have had inside assistance or insider intelligence. The AES alliance gets stress tested. The attack became the biggest early test of the Alliance of Sahel States, AES. The alliance was created as a collective security bloc after all 3 governments distanced themselves from ECOWAS, France, and parts of Western security architecture. Immediate AES response. Following the April 25th attacks, joint rhetoric hardened, and Niger announced retaliatory operations. Reports emerged of AES coordinated airstrikes in northern Mali. Officials reiterated plans to expand the regional force from 5,000 toward 15,000 personnel. Strategic problem: airstrikes can punish concentrations of fighters. They do not automatically produce territorial control. That remains the central weakness. Holding remote terrain in the Sahel requires logistics, persistent patrol networks, local intelligence, and population control. That is where both national militaries and regional alliances often struggle. Russia's role: the biggest strategic embarrassment. Russia had invested heavily in projecting itself as Mali's decisive security partner. Its footprint now operates through the Africa Corps, the post-Wagner structure. Multiple international reports indicated that Russian personnel in northern Mali came under intense pressure around Kidal, instead of becoming the anchor of a decisive defense. Reports suggest Russian units negotiated withdrawal corridors under pressure. That matters politically because the Russian security proposition to Bamako was built on one central claim: stability through hard force. The April 25th offensive directly challenged that claim. Reuters, AP, and other international outlets all noted that Russian-backed forces failed to prevent the fall of Kidal. Why this may change Mali's foreign partnerships. Foreign analysts increasingly believe the attack may accelerate quiet internal debate inside Mali over security diversification. Potential areas of future military cooperation discussed by analysts include Turkey, drones, surveillance, training, and Gulf partners, logistics and funding. Also, selective re-engagement with non-Western intelligence networks. That does not mean Mali will abandon Russia, but it does mean the idea of one guarantor of regime survival looks weaker than it did before April 25th. Regional implications beyond Mali. The deeper concern is this: the attack demonstrated that insurgent networks can now coordinate across multiple operational theaters at once. That raises regional implications for Burkina Faso, Niger, southern Algerian frontier zones, and regional transport and military corridors. If replicated, this becomes not just a Malian crisis, but a Sahel-wide strategic challenge. April 25 was more than an attack. It was a test of whether Bamako's new security architecture, the junta, the AES alliance, and Russia's Africa Corps, could absorb a coordinated shock. For now, the answer remains uncertain. The battlefield in Kidal may have changed hands, but the bigger struggle is over who defines power in the Sahel now.